The noble in heart will always strive to do their best, even in the midst of confusion. But at the same time, the noble in heart quite often get judged by people who have no inkling as to what the person with the noble heart is going through. People like to talk, and talk is cheap, and people do it mainly for the most part because they're bored or because they have an ulterior motive. But during this particular cycle, where we're dealing with an alignment between the sun, Pluto, and Mars, you need to be less concerned about the babble that's going on around you and more concerned about what feels right within your own domain. And I think you know the domain that I'm talking about when I'm pointing in this particular area. I'm not talking about the burrito you ate or or heartburn. I'm talking about what dwells in your heart, what you know to be right. And you see, the thing is sometimes we can hit these confusing moments like we're dealing with right now, where it feels like a lot's at stake, where it feels like, well, there's perhaps maybe a lot of expectations that are being placed upon your shoulders, and you're concerned about being able to come through with what's necessary in a situation that seems to be becoming increasingly difficult. And in dealing with that, you're kind of feeling like you're on the verge of potentially gaining it all or potentially losing it all. And that's a pretty scary place to be. And it's a place that requires a lot of responsibility on your part. And when you're afraid of losing, sometimes it's hard to make a decision and to commit. So let's talk about a lot of the energies that are at stake here. We're dealing with a three-planet conjunction between Rahu, Saturn, and Venus in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So when Rahu comes into contact with Venus, quite often there's a level of idealism that is really high pitched. And sometimes that idealism means that other people will place demands upon us. Sometimes we place those demands upon ourselves and expect that we'll be able to do something that's perhaps, well, superhuman because we care and we love the people who are in our lives and we want to do the best by them, right? And so there's a lot of expectations on our shoulders. And those people whom we care about, they're probably looking to us because they expect us to do something, right? And in addition to that, Rahu's connection with Saturn can bring a fear of instability. It can make it feel that the moment that we're gaining firm ground, the carpet's yanked out from underneath us. This is a necessary process. What it's teaching you, even though it seems harsh and even though it seems intense, is to find the stability you need in your life within yourself. Because the external stability that you desire can always be taken away from you. In addition to that, it helps to dream big. Rahu's connection with Venus, don't get me wrong, it's good on a certain level to aim for Neptune, to have really high standards, but to be comfortable with the fact that you may just end up reaching the moon. So have high goals, but at the same time, recognize that this may not be what you're capable of, but there's nothing to stop you from trying, right? And where other people are placing demands upon your time, recognize that you're human. Recognize that they're human too. They have needs and they may not be paying attention to necessarily what's going on in your own domain due to what's going on in theirs and things that they are needing. Now, we also have a three-planet alignment happening between the Sun in Ashwini Nakshatra, Mars in Pusha Nakshatra, and Pluto in Shravana Nakshatra. Shravana Nakshatra deals with the ears. So some common things that happen during tense alignments with Shravana Nakshatra, it can be that people are talking behind your back. Sometimes it even means people are talking directly in your face. And there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of. Pluto tends to heighten that even more so. Shravana also has a tendency to make us really confused about the path ahead because we see a lot of different options and directions in which we can go. And knowing that there's so many different options, we have a hard time picking one. Now, the sun in Ashwini Nakshatra likes to be able to quickly come up with a solution, to quickly be able to do the thing that's right in any given moment. But when we're dealing with Ashwini Nakshatra being somewhat hindered or being impacted in a difficult capacity, then it can make it so that we're confused about direction. We're again feeling this sense of dualism. And if you connect that to Pluto and Shravana, it makes that level of confusion even higher. Mix that with the Rahu Venus Saturn connection, and I think you see where we're going. Now, there's also a tense alignment between Mars in Pusha and Pluto in Shravana. Pusha relates on one level, amongst many other things, with the concept of sacrificing what is necessary for the path ahead. Pusha is quite often noted to be the most nourishing of all the nakshatras, but what often gets missed with Pusha is that nourishment happens through limitation. That nourishment happens through accepting a sacrifice that needs to be made. So there's a lot of tense energy flying around. You may find in the coming days that there's a lot of blabber going on and people judging things going on in your world, and you may be even doing the same to other people's worlds. What I would do is suggest don't judge so easily. Don't judge so easily. We can never fully know what another person's going through. And it's very easy to judge and it's very easy to point fingers, and people get bored and they like to gossip. But quite often, when they do that, they speak not knowing very much about anything at all and professing to know it all, and when they know very little. So make it easy on yourself if you're feeling tempted, not that you would, to gossip, to not do so because it's not helpful and you may not have a clear picture of the situation. Where you may find somebody else is doing that for you, what you're needing to do is to not give in to the confusion of the judgment of those other people. Okay, because that's what's happening in their lives. That's happening in their perception. That's what's going on with them. You're going through a different experience. You have to focus on your own path. But with your own path, the answer is in your heart. And yes, that answer is going to require that you make a sacrifice, that you accept some limitation in the coming days. This environment can feel, well, a little bit tense, but recognize that this is what's surfacing. It's for a reason, and that reason is so that you have an even greater level of self-trust in your path ahead, in what you need to do, because the answer always lies within you. But when the fear is all around you, it's confusing to pick a direction. If you could use a little bit of help with that process, I do offer several different levels of astrological service. All of these are available through my services page, which you will find linked above. That's going to do it for this look at the alignment between Mars, the Sun, and Pluto in the coming days between the 23rd and the 27th of April. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.